problem number 5, or example, I should say, problem number 5. We're given data from Bob regarding their 3 most popular models, A, B, and C. We have their selling price, variable cost, and the time it takes for their plastic injection molding machine processing time, and their pounds of plastic pellets per unit. So we're given all that information. First item, the total time available on the plastic injection molding machine is the constraint in the production process. What's the contribution margin per unit at the constrained resource for the 3 models? Which model would be the most profitable use of the constraint, and which would be the least profitable use of the constraint? So first of all, we have to determine our contribution margin per unit. So for A, we take our selling price of 200, subtract our variable cost of 80, which gives us 120. B, 320 selling price minus 150 variable cost gives us 170 contribution margin. C, 190 selling price minus 60 variable cost gives us 130 contribution margin. The plastic injection molding machine processing time required per unit is 5 minutes for A, 6 minutes for B, 3 minutes for C. So the way we figure out the contribution margin per constrained resource is we take the contribution margin per unit and we divide it by our constrained resource. So for A, it's 120 divided by 5, which is 24. For B, it's 170 divided by 6, which is 2833. For C, it's 130 divided by 3, which is 4333. The next part of the question is asking which is most profitable and which is least profitable. Most profitable is C. We have 43.33 contribution margin at the constrained resource. Least profitable A, $24 at the constrained resource. Next, what we're doing is there's a severe shortage of plastic pellets, and the company has to cut back on production. So the bottleneck is no longer machine hours, but instead it is pertaining to the pounds of plastic pellets per unit. So they give us, again in the above table, they tell us pounds required per unit is 4 for A, 5 for B, and 2 for C. So the contribution margin at the constrained resource is 120 divided by 4, $30 for A, 170 divided by 5, $34 for B, and 130 divided by 2, $65 for C. Again, I want to know what's the most profitable at the constrained resource, what's the least profitable. 65, C is the most profitable, and again, for us, 30A is the least profitable. The last question is which product has the largest unit contribution margin? And if you look, it is B. So here they're just looking for unit contribution margin. B at 170 is higher than C's 130 and A's 120. Okay, problem 6, our last problem. Bob purchased a used automobile for $12,000 at the beginning of the year and incurred the following operating costs. So I have them all here. Depreciation is $3,000. Insurance is $1,000. Garage rent's $500. Auto tax and license is $80. So if we add them all up, our total fixed cost is $4,580. What we have to do to figure out our fixed cost per mile is we take the total, $4,580, and we divide it by our number of miles, which they tell us within the problem is 12,000 miles. So to go on with the problem, they tell us the variable operating costs consist of gasoline, oil, tires, maintenance, and repairs. Bob estimates that at its current rate of mileage, the car will have 0 resale value in 4 years, so our annual straight line depreciation is $3,000, which we already considered in our fixed, as one of our fixed costs. Car is kept in the garage for a monthly fee. That's where we have our garage rent, again a fixed cost. Bob drove the car 12,000 miles per year, and we want to compute the average cost per mile of owning and operating the vehicle. So if we take our 10 cents per unit, which they give us in the table for our variable cost per mile, we already figured out 38 cents per unit for fixed costs, and we add the two together, our average cost per mile is 48 cents. The next part of the question is what costs above are relevant to the decision? The relevant cost is the variable operating cost, right? The rest we have are fixed, so the relevant cost is our variable operating cost. And that should do it. If you have any questions or problems, give me a call. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all next week.